Good morning. A post that I did on my blog last evening, it was called Checking In, How Am I Doing? And I've been thinking about it overnight, and it makes me wonder, when is a good time to tell somebody that they maybe are having more issues? I wonder sometimes how aware I am of the changes for myself and how aware my husband might be of any changes that are happening for me. And he often says that he sees me all the time, so perhaps he doesn't notice any great changes. I know we went to Wellington last weekend and saw my son and daughter-in-law and their 3 boys. And I did ask if I seemed to be showing any more symptoms, and they didn't seem to think so. But, sometimes I wonder whether family are actually saying the truth completely, or whether they're trying to soften things when we ask that question. And I kind of was thinking, it's a bit like, and it's a bit of a strange thing to compare it to, but, if you have a best friend and you know that somebody is doing something that might hurt them, for instance, if you have a really good friend and you know that their partner is not true to them, is it your place to tell them, or do you let them find out for themselves? And if you don't tell them, will they then in the future say to you, I wish you'd told me sooner? Sometimes there might be things that need to be said, things that we need to hear. But how difficult is it for those who love us to tell us these things? I frequently ask my husband if my facial expressions are still there. I know that with Parkinson's you get a mask-like presentation, and that in medical circles they would call it flat effect, that your face is flat and emotionless, and that's what they call flat effect. I know it's part of Parkinson's, and I will struggle when that happens, or if that happens. When asking my husband, he says that I still show emotion in my face, which is important. And when I was writing the blog last night, I thought to myself, what are the things that I feel are important to me? And one of those things is my voice. Now this morning, it's early in the morning. I don't think my voice has warmed up, but it sounds a bit gravelly and a bit emotional, which it probably is. And it made me think about when is the best time to tell somebody that these things are happening, that they are noticing changes. Do we need to know? And how soon do we need to know? When it comes to memory, I know that in the past week, I feel that I have forgotten a few things. Oh dear, my voice. When I've tried to remember things that have happened that week, who I spoke to about things, my memory's not been great for names and for some words that I was trying to find. And I noticed that for myself. But is it I noticed it for myself because it's got markedly worse? Have I not been paying attention? My husband's not bringing it to my attention, nor is anybody else. Do they not bring it to my attention because they think it will upset me? Or if they do that, if they don't bring it to my attention because they think it'll upset me, when they do tell me, will it be so much worse? I don't know. There are things in my life that I have always done, and one of those is write poetry. It's the classic rhyming sort of poetry. It's not usually serious, but it's important to me, and it's usually come very easily. So I haven't written much poetry for the last couple of weeks. I just haven't been inspired to. And usually these poems come to me out of nowhere, or just kind of carrying on with my day, and something will occur, and I think there's a poem in that, and I'll write it. But there hasn't really been anything of that sort lately. So I'm just waiting for the muse to move me, and to see whether there's some more poems waiting to be written. And our perception of ourselves may not always be the same as other people. Do I need to know every little change that people notice? I don't know. I played a game of bowls yesterday, and I came away from it thinking that I'd done quite well, even though we had lost by a significant margin. I felt that my game was coming together, and that I was able to adjust my shots and put in some good work. But the guy who was Skip, who's kind of in charge of the team, was a bit downhearted because we'd lost by such a margin. And I said, well, I was quite pleased with my game. And he neither kind of confirmed nor denied, so I'm not sure where he's at with it. But I know how terrible I had played in recent times. And now that I've reclaimed myself and put my faith back in myself, I do feel that I'm bowling better, I can take instruction better, and I feel more confident. But is that false confidence? I sometimes wonder. But I did play some good bowls, I know that much, and hopefully I will continue to do so. It's interesting too that I had talked myself into being more disabled, if you like, than I have been. And by that I mean I had convinced myself that I could not do a step through and bowl and get down far enough because of my knee operation and my false knee. But when I actually tried it recently, I have no trouble. So I think sometimes in trying to protect myself, I may have gone a step too far and unknowingly put myself further on in my deterioration than I need to be. So I think I need to try and have some confidence in myself and believe that I can do these things, and maybe that will help me. I enjoy doing podcasts and talking about how my life with Parkinson's is affecting me. I'm hoping that not only does it help me, but it also helps other people listening. And I always try to be open and honest in any podcast that I do. Please excuse the voice this morning. It's just morning voice, but I wanted to get this done. So, yes, I think it's important to check in with myself from time to time to see how I'm doing. And I think I'm basically doing all right, but it's mainly the memory that I'm noticing, and the finding words when I'm trying to make up a sentence. And I get to a certain point sometimes where I think, oh gosh, I can't even remember what that word is that I was aiming for. And also I get a bit breathless. If I have too long a sentence, then I find sometimes that I sort of puff out at the end, the very last word, and I have to take a big breath. So, yeah, there are a few changes happening, but I'm pleased that I can still speak reasonably well. I'm doing some interviews for my other podcast, and that podcast is Parkies, a chat about all things Parkinson's. Now, I would love to interview more people. I've had a few, and I'm gradually going to try and build that up and talk to people with Parkinson's and those that support them and put it on my platform. I think for me it's important that those of us with Parkinson's, our voice is heard, even if our voice is quiet. I interviewed Claire and David recently, and his voice has become very quiet. But you listen when he speaks. It was, to me, powerful that I had given him the opportunity to use his voice to comment on some of the things we were talking about. But also, before recording, I spoke to him and his wife, and he was happy for her to do most of the speaking. But of course, during the recording, I also brought him in on the conversation as much as possible. So the blog that I do, the podcast that I do, they are therapeutic for me. They give me a place to send my thoughts and feelings. But in being honest and sharing my thoughts and feelings with you, I hope that you will also find a kindred spirit who is real, who is honest, who is true to herself, and expects that of others around her. So how am I doing? I think I'm doing okay, but I would really like to know from my husband if he noticed any distinct changes, and I hope that he will. And I hope that I can receive that gift of knowledge, of him telling me that there are things that he notices that may be of concern and maybe I need to address. So yeah, how am I doing? I think I'm doing okay. There are things that concern me, mostly my memory, but I think I'm doing okay. My mobility is good. It is improving post my surgery. Well, both my surgeries actually, my knee and my back, both significant operations. But I have at the moment no Parkinson's effect on my mobility, so that's good. It's just a kind of pootle along kind of life at the moment, where I just take each day as it comes. I try to keep busy. I'm doing several brain game exercises in the morning. One called Lumosity, that's L-U-M for Mary, O-S-I-T-Y, Lumosity. It has quite a few word games and things that you can do for free. I also do a thing called Merriam-Webster. I think it's an American site where they have various games that you can play. And LinkedIn also has some games that you can play. So I play all of those every morning to try and keep me thinking and practicing the use of words, understanding of words, so that I can keep that going. I play cards on a Monday morning. That gives me social interaction. It's a card game that requires quite a lot of thinking and planning and organising, all things that can be challenging. But I'm enjoying it, doing that every Monday. I go 3 times a week to the local pool for aqua jogging, and I do a little bit of breaststroke, just half a length or so. I'm not up to doing full lengths as yet, but just trying to get there. And bowls. Bowls is a huge social and physical exercise for me. It gets me talking to people, it gets me socialising, gets me out of the house, it gets me exercising, and when it goes well, it gives me much joy, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm making friends, and I'm getting out and about. And as my husband says, and we both agree, I am better if I'm busy. I cannot be somebody that stays at home all the time. So yeah, just some thoughts on progression, just checking in with myself and wondering whether you do the same, or if people have to tell you that things are changing. So this has been Sue for Parkies and me, my journey with Parkinson's. Kia kaha, be brave, be strong, be you.